Welcome to the Multidimensional Realities podcast, your portal to cosmic insights and soul liberation. I'm your host, Ebony Shalom, interdimensional experiencer, divine channel, and quantum energy specialist. This is no ordinary podcast. It's an experience that has the potential to transform your reality as you know it. Together we explore divine insights and bring light to the collective consciousness. Are you ready to enter the void?
Bringing that balance in. So if we ask the sacral, what are the energies here? Let's have a look. For the masculines. And so here there's a lack of expression, a lack of creativity. And this is actually because of the expectations that are put on them to do, right? They are seeking ways then to express themselves or let their hair down because they feel so much pressure to do things and be a certain way that then they turn to things that aren't necessarily nourishing themselves. It's kind of like when you don't eat all day and then because you're so exhausted, you just grab a snack, which isn't nourishing our bodies. And the masculine energies are kind of, they're doing so much and trying to meet these expectations. By the end of the day, instead of nourishing themselves and sitting with themselves and actually exploring themselves, they're grabbing a beer or, you know, they're feeling tired, so they don't want to do that run. It's like a real, unless you've got a lifestyle that is nourishing in a healthy way, the energies are suggesting that there's not a lot of energy left over for self. And also they just want to take the pressure off, essentially. And so sitting in front of the TV or drinking or whatever it is that isn't necessarily the most healthy choices, they're easy. And that's what feels best because they're so flipping exhausted from the expectations they have on themselves and from others. And so then if we have a look at the feminines and what are the feminine energies doing through the sacral, it's actually squashing, I just want to say from that point of view, it's squashing the masculine's ability to express themselves freely and really explore themselves as creative beings, because that is not being encouraged. And so they're just not. They're exhausted and that expression has already been squashed. So it's kind of like, yeah, I can see that there. And then the feminines here. Oh, so they're crying. So the feminines are crying because they feel their needs aren't being met. And so this is what this center must be about here. Needs, the emotional needs aren't being met because of the expectations and everything and the roles that everyone is playing. And so the feminines are crying, and that's the expression because they're longing for connection. They're longing to feel that connection. And they're getting surface level stuff because there's no energy left. And I feel like if we have a look within ourselves, if I'm doing, me as a single person, doing, to try and meet the expectations of my family and bring in money and keep a roof over my head and all this stuff, then by the end of the day, unless I've got a lifestyle where I've incorporated meditations and self-care and things like this, I'm going to be very exhausted and potentially feel emotionally exhausted, also spent. And then I'm going to end up crying inside of myself because I just feel like there is no other connection. I'm just on go mode. I'm go do. I have to do this. And so my true self-expression gets unnoticed, which leaves me feeling sad and disconnected without a true connection. And so these energies need to balance out. Less do, and more nurturing of self. And undertaking the expectations of self to do, and bringing myself back into balance through understanding what it is that I need to feel connected to my heart, and balance out my days so that I'm not having to suit up in that armor and go out. And so, and for like counterparts, also recognizing and putting in place the boundaries that allow for two people to have a healthy expression and relationship that feels connected, so that the one isn't overworking and doing. And that might mean creating some kind of plan where there's a solution together, and that comes back to the solar plexus. How are we going to work this so that we actually have time for each other, because we value that, and we like to do fun things together, and we like to be able to converse and actually express ourselves, because you're so funny and I don't ever want to lose that, and you're so adventurous. And keeping those connections open by creating a world for yourselves and within you that expresses the balance that is needed for that true expression. Not just do, both doing in different ways, obviously, but not being heard or feeling connected. So stepping out of the programming of and the conditioning that's taught us to ignore how we feel. You need to do this if you are going to be successful and fit in, and then, you know, you have to play your role over here, and when I've got time, then we do. That's not going to work. If there is a partnership within ourselves or out of ourselves, there needs to be a balance. What is it that I need to feel connected to myself and take those expectations of self? I hope that makes sense, because I can see what is happening there. This is great. I'm going to have to listen back over this, but I can see it unfolding, and I don't know if I'm actually expressing this right because I've not done it before. So, but I'm going to keep practicing doing these, because I feel like we're uncovering some things here about ourselves, and also what's happening for the masculines and the feminines in the world, and the programming and conditioning that they're breaking out of.
Subscribe, share, and become part of our cosmic community.